All right. Hello, Samantha. Hi, Ghost. Or hi, Boy Tech 123. How you doing? You could send.
Oh, hello. Okay, sorry. This is my first space,
Okay.
so I have to get used to the technology here. Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I could walk you through. Basically, since you're already a co-host, you just need to mute your mic when you're not speaking, so we don't talk over each other. And also because of static, then you can unmute it when you want to speak and stuff like that. Is that good?
Yes, that sounds perfect.
Awesome. Thank you. So, welcome, Michael. So, yeah, we should be starting off in 6 minutes each. So, that will be maybe 10 more minutes, right? So, please, if you all could share the space so we get more folks in here. We're talking about 4 strategies to double your salary in 4 years. And we have a special guest. And I'm going to introduce her when we have like a fuller house. So, you share the space. And yeah, just let's get this going. Hi, Eminence. Welcome, welcome. So you all share the space. Let's get as much folks in here. Maybe I don't know, 10 more people. Then we could get started. And my spaces are pretty brief. An hour 30, we should be done. So yeah, so get folks in here and let's get this going. All right, keep sharing the space. We should be starting soon.
How was your day today?
Yeah, my day was really stressful. I literally hopped off a TKYT session at about 20 minutes to the time to just get here. And yeah, it's been like that, meetings and all, but it's we can't complain. It's part of the job. How about you?
My day was good. I woke up early. I've been like new year, new me, so I'm trying to like get up earlier so I can get more things done. I worked on. I'm doing a 30-day writing challenge, so I did that. I did that this morning, which was nice. I wrote about like dealing with conflict, like a pro, because like a lot of times we get scared to like bring up difficult conversations. So just being able to do that in a very systematic way has definitely helped me talk to other people about like issues. Like let's say like my manager doesn't support me. Like how do you bring that up to your manager? Um, so that thing that was kind of fun to write about this morning.
Yeah, that's nice. And you say 30 days writing challenge. That's amazing. I'm really looking forward to the articles you put out. I actually suck at waking up late. Please don't judge me. So, but today I woke up at 1 a.m. for some reason. I think my circadian clock was messed up or something. So I decided, like, let me just do like a video, right? So I was gonna do this reaction video for View, and I actually did it by that time. I went back to bed at about, let's say, 6 in the morning. Then I woke up by like 9. I just have terrible sleep patterns. Don't judge.
No, no judgment. What about View were you going to react to?
Yeah, so there's this new. Okay, it's still experimental. It's not shipped yet. So it's been working. They called him as working on it 5 months ago. It's about something called the vapor mode. It's a compilation strategy because, as we know, Vue is VDOM based, but with the vapor mode, we're going to have a more lighter footprint for the Vue components because you can opt in to say, okay, Vue don't. This is not a VDOM component. You could mutate the DOM directly and also bind reactivity, just like Solid and Svelte, they're doing it. So that was really amazing because we've been seeing a lot of performance talk from all these other frameworks, and I was thinking before now, when is you gonna get on this? And this turns out they've gotten on it for like 5 months, 6 months ago, and it should be shipping this year.
Oh, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it is. Okay, So I think 2 more minutes. So for you all joining in, please share the space. We're starting in 2 minutes, and I'm going to let Samantha take the floor in that time, and we all can start what we came here to talk about. Okay?
Yes. And if you
Yeah.
have any questions, I think there's a chat feature on here. I will be looking at the chat to answer any questions.
Mm-hmm. And also towards the end of the space, like 30 minutes ish towards the end, we are also going to have like a Q&A as well. So get ready your questions. 1 more minute, please share the space. And yeah, so we could have like so share the space. We'll have more people in here. Let me see. So we're 10 plus. We're good. So yeah, so I think we could get started right now. And looking at closing an hour 30 minimum or maximum. Hi Loki, thanks. Thanks for joining.
Maximum.
Yeah, okay, maximum please. Yeah, then hi Dave, hi Samuel. Thank you all. So yeah, so welcome to my first special guest space for the year. It is? Yes, it is. Yeah, and you all know I bring someone from the tech community to come talk on a topic they are keen to talk about. And today we have Samantha talking to us about 4 strategies to double your salary in 4 years, which is really, really, it sounds like an interesting topic I want to get to. But before that, let's meet Samantha. So, Samantha, could you please unmute your mic, tell us who you are, what you do, and a little bit of a background story?
Yeah, so I'm a senior software engineer at Intuit MailChimp. I've been coding for over 6 years now. I'm a career transitioner, so that means I used to be in theater, like I used to do odd jobs. I used to be a construction manager. I used to be an artist. Like if there's an industry, I probably was in it at one point in my life, but I wanted to change my life. So I decided to go to a coding boot camp. And after the coding boot camp, I was able to land a job in tech as a software engineer. I absolutely love what I do. It's been able to afford me a very nice lifestyle that I probably would never have gotten. I wish I had learned about tech and coding when I was in high school or maybe even in like middle school would be great, but that just wasn't a possibility for me because my school did not have those resources to provide that opportunity. But now it's cool that tech is on the forefront of the newspapers, social media apps. Everybody wants to become a engineer. Everybody wants to be coding. Uh, so it's nice to see that it's more accessible now than it was when I was growing up. Oh yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
also the host of a podcast. It's called the Deeper Than Tech podcast, where we bring on Black women in tech to talk about their experiences in tech. So whether that's like dealing with being a Black person in tech, that's a lot, or dealing with how to talk to your manager about certain situations. We created a space for Black women to have their voices heard. So make sure you check it out.
Yeah, thank you for that brief introduction. So yeah, I um how was it for you when you transitioned from like a non-tech career path into tech?
The transition, I would say, was quite hard. Like they always say, your first job will be the hardest, but then after that, it's a lot easier to get your next job, which is pretty much, in my experience, true. It after I did a boot camp, mine was a little bit longer. Mine was about 9 months, and then it took me like 5 months to get a job in tech. I had two offers. My first offer, I didn't accept because I didn't feel like it was the right company for me at that time. But then my second offer, I did accept because I needed some money. Thanks.
No, sure. Yeah, I okay. So you got your first offer like 5 months after, right?
I would say about 4 months. I got my job
Okay.
5 months after I graduated.
Mm-hmm. Nice, nice. So You mentioned the boot camp you took. So how was that for you? Like, again, I'm actually talking from a person who wasn't really inclined, like has a non-tech background, and boot camp. How was it for you?
Can you rephrase the question?
Okay, like the experience with the boot camp. How was it?
Okay. So my experience in boot camp, since it was a longer time, there was more time for me to learn. There are 3 months boot camps, but I personally believe that's a little bit too fast to learn. But you can also do a 3 month boot camp, try to get an internship, and you can learn on the job and get paid, which is probably the most ideal way to do it. But for mine was 9 months. We did front end code, which is in JavaScript, and our back end code was also in JavaScript.
Wow, cool. 9 months boot camp. Nice. So yeah, quick question. So right now you're a senior software engineer at Intuit MailChimp, right? So can you sort of walk us through like the steps you took to get into this position you are right now?
Oh, that's a long story. there's
Okay.
a there's a lot there's a lot
Sorry.
into like moving up the
Okay.
ladder, and I
Mm-hmm.
hopefully will be able to help talk about that in this talk today. But
Okay.
for me, it's mostly knowing the right people, um, making sure that your manager is on your side, getting those allies to help support you, because you're going to have the skills. That is something I'm not worried that anybody's not going to have. Is like, are you going to have the people there to support you to help you climb up the ladder? And that's the most important thing. So, yeah, I would say that's the most important thing because I know I'm a good coder. I know I'm a good leader. Is it does somebody else see that to give me a chance?
Nice. Yeah, so this issue of networking and having the people factor in our successes and going higher in our career, I think it's something we don't really talk more on because, like you said, anybody can code, right? Anybody can get the skills, but you could code all you want if you don't have the right people in your network that knows what you can do and are speaking for you and are looking out for you ascending that ladder, it's not really going to play out really, really well, right?
Yeah, that is correct. Unfortunately, we can't do it by ourselves. I see there's a lot of black people on here. We have to come together as a team to help elevate each other because the white man is in the way. So we need to like come together in order for us to grow.
Yeah, sure thing, sure thing. So we should lift each other up. I really like that. So yeah, so let's go a little bit full circle into the topic. So the topic is four strategies to double your salary, right? And how do we really get to strategy number one?
Okay, I wanted to start off by saying like this space's title is very clickbaity. That was the idea to get people on here. But I will say I honestly been able to double my salary. I'm just a regular employee. I have a 9 to 5. I sit and I code. I don't have any like get rich schemes here to give y'all. Like, there's no quick way to do this. 4 years might sound like a long time, but that I think that's actually kind of quick to be able to double your salary. So there are 4 different tactics that I can give you on doubling your salary. The first one will be negotiation. The second will be about job hopping. The third one will be about promotions, and the fourth one will be about raises. Those 4 things will it be able to help you get to a higher salary quicker. But how do we get to the first thing? That was the question. Let me go back to the question. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is negotiations. Like your first salary in tech will determine the amount of money you're going to make for the rest of your life. It's very rare to go from 40K to 100K doing the exactly the same thing, exactly the same job. You could do that by changing careers, but I if you're doing that by doing exactly the same job of that big of a salary bump, that means you've been underpaid for a very long time and you lost a lot of money. So my first salary for my job was for 85K. This is the average salary for a software engineer in New York City. So this number is going to be different depending on your location. New York City is a higher earning city because of the higher living costs. But for me, that was like that first offer that I got that I told you about from my first job. I personally did not want to work for that company. I wanted something a little bit stronger on my resume than like a startup that no one knew about that could fail. So I decided to turn down that job. And that was kind of my first thing in like negotiation. I tried to get the salary at that startup to go up. It wasn't. So I knew for myself that it wasn't going to work out. So that's why I had to look for another job. And the second job, I was able to get an extra 7K because of the type of company it was. It was not a startup, it was more of an established company. And it just looked kind of better on my resume. And I knew that was important. So when I get to my second job, it'll be a lot easier for me to find. To have that credibility um, is 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 good. So the job that I took was fine, but I needed more money. So they gave me an offer. So that means I still need to negotiate. No matter what somebody gives you, you always have to negotiate your salary. Companies want to pay you as cheap as they can. The and the costliest thing that employee has to pay for is the costliest thing that the employer has to pay for is employees. And so they want to keep that cost down as low as possible. But it's your job to get your salary as high as possible. So I had negotiated my salary to get an extra 7K. Um, some other things that you can negotiate for is like you can negotiate your balance, your like a bonus. You can ask for like transit. This all depends on like your location, your work attire. There's a thing in tech called RSUs. Those are some things that you can negotiate for. But your prime focus should be on your base salary because your base salary will determine your salary for like the rest of your life. Any questions so far? Sorry, I see a few things in the chat.
Yeah, it's I think we don't talk about this part of the tech space a lot, and please, you do not sleep on the art of negotiation. Like she's been talking about, it's really really important. Like she said, it will determine your base salary. Will determine like the salary on your first job is going to determine your salaries in your career. So you really want to keep in mind what she's saying, and also whatever you offer, like she said, don't take it as face value. Also have an amount that you could negotiate for that is higher. So like you said, the employer is trying to reduce the amount they spend on employees because that's their costless expenditures, and you also need to get paid your worth. Okay, so that's super good. So thank you so much, Samantha, on that. We are going to cycle back again to these strategies because you just talk about negotiations, but let's take a question so we don't get too far out before we tackle it. Is that good?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, sure. So this is from oxwin.nft. He said, how do you get a job so fast after the bootcamp?
I would say, I guess 5 months is fast. Um, it's about networking. I got my job through networking. I started Twitter. I went to conferences. Without that person giving, because I failed all my coding interview challenges that you have for interviews. I was given a few. I wasn't given. I applied for jobs and they invited me to interview, but I failed all of those. Um, So when you know somebody in the space who wants to give a entry level job to somebody, they are more willing to work with you. Because I was also like learning in public on Twitter. I was telling people what I was doing. So I don't agree that you should work more than your 9 to 5 when it comes to coding. But when you're trying to get into tech, you should be giving like your all because getting that first job is very, very hard. And hopefully that answered enough of the question. I could also
Yeah,
follow up.
yes, I think so. And it's really hits on something I have very close to my heart, which is building in public and networking. And I'll leave a little hint. We'll be having a space on networking itself because it's really important. And I really want the techies in here to really know how important it is to put yourself out there. Like I've severally tweeted, you're playing small, it's not going to help anybody. So the same thing is, it's not going to help you if you're not putting yourself out there. Some would say that the excuse they have is they're still learning, they're not all that good. But really, who is? We all are still learning, right? So as soon as you learn, like I always said, you are always a level higher than someone who is coming up with you. So there's always something to teach, and you teaching, you're marketing yourself, you're putting yourself in places that people will think about you when such opportunities that they see you are tailored for based on what you've been putting out. So yeah, networking, like Samantha said. So that is really a very strong point. So I think the second question is okay, which is still on the networking, is what are the networking strategies you used? Are you there, Samantha? Your mic is muted.
Okay, sorry, I lost the space here. I'm back. So
Okay.
networking strategies, I would just be organic. If you're meeting people in person, I would never ask for a job in person because if me as somebody who's in tech now and somebody asked me for a job, I would feel some type of way. So instead, get their like Twitter or get their email, and after you meet them, send them a follow up email saying, "Hey, I was interested in getting a job. I saw you have job postings. Yeah, make sure you go on their job site and find a job. Don't just be like, oh, do you have any jobs? Be like, no, I found this job on your site. Can you refer me? Because a lot of people will refer. Like at my company, we have like a referral program, and there's a drop down. It says, are you familiar with this person? Are you are you recommending them as like top notch, or you just like they just ask you for a referral. So people refer people all the time. So I would first start with that, like following up and finding a job posting and asking them to put in your resume. Because for me, it's like 2 seconds for me to do that. And then another thing, networking I think is better on social media. There's like communities like 100 devs, 100 day of code, just constantly posting what you're learning will get people to follow you. I don't think you need to have a big following to get a job. I think I only had like 500 people follow me when I got my job. So, yeah, I mean, networking's hard. I'm an introvert, so I think online social media is the best way for me to network.
Yeah, thank you so much, Samantha. So, like she said, be active in communities, all right? And you don't want to outrightly want to make the ask for a job when you just meet someone for the first time. That is too much energy at that moment. And this person do not know you that well, can't vouch for your credibility either because you just met, right? So you need to build rapport before you make the ask and also do your due diligence. Don't go asking if they have a job and if they have like a website where you could check their job board if they have vacancy already. You could save them that bandwidth of having to answer that by just doing your own research, find a job, then you could ask them for a referral if there's a referral program, and of course, be credible, right? You need they because of these people need to also protect their reputation, so they don't refer someone who's not up for the job. So make sure you are that person that you are ready for the job. Okay. So yeah, thank you, Samantha. You answered the questions flawlessly, and I think like do you still have more talking points on negotiation, or should we move up to the second strategy?
Well, I just wanted to point out why negotiation is so important, especially on your base salary, because a lot of times companies will have like bonuses. So let's say you start off with 50K and they have a 10% yearly bonus. So that's, and the math is 5K. But then let's say you negotiate your salary, your base salary to 55K times 10%, that's 55, $5,500. So that's an extra $500. While it might not seem a lot, the extra $500 for 12 months of work, like 12 divided, that's like $60 a month. For some people, that's a lot, yes. But you have to think about it. That extra 55K salary that you have negotiated will affect your 401k matching. It will affect every future raise. It will affect every bonus that you get. And even if you get like profit sharing from your company, it will affect that. So that $500 over 12 months has now become about like a $1,000 over 12 months. May not seem like a big deal, but like it's important to know like how much you can negotiate. You get a little bit more by all the extra stuff that the company provides for you. So let's say, um, so I was able to negotiate for my first job about 15% more than the average salary of a software engineer in New York City. Um, it's the negotiation is like a tactic. It's something that you have to kind of learn how to do. The way that I did it for my first job was I got advice from a white man, and this is what he told me to do. So it may not work for everybody else, but I'm a pretty bold person in life, so it worked for me. So when they gave me my offer number, I talked to a recruiter, and I just told them I was very surprised about the number that they gave me. I told them that the number was lower than I expected, and I was looking for X amount of money. Now, you need to always make sure you say something higher than what you want because, of course, in any negotiation, it's going to be a back and forth, and they're going to give you a number lower, anyways. And you don't want to like keep negotiating like all day because they're going to get tired and they're going to move on. But one other thing I would note is it is very scary to negotiate it. I was scared. I was very, very scared. So I wrote down the number that I wanted on a piece of paper. And I also wrote down the number that I was going to tell the recruiter on a piece of paper. So that way, when I felt like I was going to chicken out, I could not because I knew I had to read that number on the paper no matter what. So I think that's some good tips for negotiation. That's what worked for me, but it may not work for everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Now, you writing down the number, I would actually say that is you setting up yourself for success. So just in case you get cold feet, you know you have to read that number on the paper that you've written down, and that's really good. And also the tip on asking more than what you want, because of course they're going to give you something lower. So you shouldn't start with, so if you want maybe like 90K, you shouldn't say 90K, right? You should go like maybe like 95 or 96, because they're going to definitely negotiate down. Of course, they're trying to save money. It's a back and forth. So when you start higher, so any anywhere they fall down to is it's in the ballpark of what you initially wanted. So it's a win-win. I think it is. I so I've seen in some interviews where the person that is doing the interview will ask you what you want for a salary. Do you think you should answer that outright?
No, I personally wouldn't ask that right because the person interviewing me is not going to be the one I negotiate the salary with. A lot of times I do feel more confident through email, and the recruiter is the one. Oh, so you're talking about maybe the first interview where the recruiter is asking. Still no. I would follow up and ask them, do you have a salary band that you can provide for me? I believe in New York City, at least, they are required to tell you that amount. Um, Not all cities or states or countries will have that openness with you. So I would hold off until after you have gone through the interview process. It's a lot. Companies interviewing people cost them a lot of money. So if they already invested a lot in you, when you do give them your number, they will more likely accept it at the end than at the beginning. So I would not say my salary or my expected salary before I interview.
Nice. So I actually asked that because I've seen this like literally in interviews, and I've heard it as well. So I've always encouraged folks to not say like outrightly what you want, because at that stage they're probably just trying to, and you might actually shoot yourself in the foot if you call a salary which is way lower than what they were going to offer you, but you don't know, right? So you're in the dark about that. So I always tell them, you make me an offer first, then we could see about that. So yeah, so definitely, I'm glad we were in sync on that one. So yeah, let's move on to a like the second strategy that I'm not really keen on, job hopping. What is that?
Oh, yeah. Job hopping is a very interesting one. So, job hopping is moving from one job to the next job to the next job to increase your salary at a faster rate. So, when I left my first job, I was able to hop to my second job and get a higher percentage of increase than I would staying at the company and getting a raise. So, a lot of times it's very common that every year in tech, at least software engineers, they will hop, hop until they are comfortable with the salary that they have. The reason why it's a year is because they also include sign-on bonuses when you go to a new job, and usually sign-on bonuses mean that you have a 1 year commitment with the company. If you don't do the 1 year, you might have to pay the company back that sign-on bonus. So the average US salary raise increase when you go from one job to the next job is a 12% raise. But I have seen people in tech get up to 30% raises. So if you're making 55K at 12% more, that's $61,000. But if you negotiate it, like we talked about, to 55K, and then you got a 30% raise because you're amazing, that will be, oops, I think the math is wrong here. I think that's
Hmm.
times 12% will be 71K. I wrote this down. I will have to fix my numbers. But just know it's a lot more money than what you had at the company when you started. If you jump to another company. Did that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. It's not something I've thought about. That's why I said like I wasn't keen on it. So how do you, is it like outrightly when this is like the mindset you have for like a period of time that okay, after a year I'm going to job hop, or it happens when maybe okay, of course you said maybe you're not comfortable with the salary. Like how do you do this really? Like is it start up from the very first hire you are thinking of moving the next year? How exactly did that work?
Yes, some people have that mindset. Like, I'm going to get this job, stay there for a year, then get to the next job. Um, Depends on how you feel. Like, me personally, that's not the way I move, but it's a very quick way to increase your salary. And I don't think we talk about it enough. But people are out here doing it all the time.
Nice. I'm just checking the chat if you have any questions. But seriously, like this this one is really, it's let's see. It's a little bit has to do with okay, what if you like the company you're currently on at a more sentimental level? Like how do you deal with that?
You kind of stay and know that your salary will not increase as much. I have that sentiment as well. Like, I have been at my current company for 4 years now. If I have probably moved to another company, I probably get an extra 20 to 30% more. But sometimes your peace of mind is a lot more important than money. So you also have to realize that. Because I know that my job right now is a safe space for me. So I don't want to go to another space that I might not be happy in. So sometimes you have to think about that. But negotiating a higher salary that's that high once you're in the job is extremely hard. Sometimes it's easier to leave the company, working for another company for a year, and then come back to the past company and work for them. Because then they'll give you that 20, 30% that you try to negotiate for while you're at the company. It's just, I don't know why they do that, but that's just how it works. But yeah, just
Oh,
imagine you're doing that for 3 years. I mean, you might be a little bit more motivated. You're new, you're trying to learn. But there's also like a cap when it comes to job titles and your level. So at some point, you're going to need to get a promotion. And sometimes people also job hop to get that promotion if their job is not doing it for them. So um, right now at my company, just based on asking around, I may only get like a 7% raise if I was supposed to get a promotion. But if I go somewhere else to get the same title, I might get that 20 to 30% raise for the same exact title. Because I'm loyal to the company, it could cost me thousands of dollars.
wow. Okay, that's very eye opening, and yeah, it's like I said. I think it's important we have conversations like this because for me, if I'm working for a company, I'm really sentimental about the company because I always like working at a space where I like the mission and all that. But yeah, having this at the end of the day, it's mostly transactional, and being able to decouple what you feel for the company and also your value appreciating over time is really something to put it like it's something you have to put top of mind really. So thank you for sharing that, Samantha.
Yeah, no worries. I like talking about this stuff because I didn't know about any of this. This is just my experience of what I have learned, what I have tried. Talking to other people about what they do. I'm super nosy, so I ask people tons of questions, and I know a lot of people aren't nosy, so I'm here to help out.
Yeah, sure thing. So yeah, I see a couple of questions before we go to strategy number three. The first one is what's the first one? So the first one is, does the short job shift, I think, like, does the short job shift not affect your chances of getting roles on long term projects in terms of reliability?
I do not think so. I
Okay.
think we're very, the tech industry knows, at least with software engineers, I'm not sure with any other tech role, that software engineers do hop around a lot, especially if you're like in Silicon Valley. They do it very often. It's mostly just about you explaining to the company your value. I think even if you're at a job for a year and you are doing, you could do like amazing things. Maybe you do like a new feature. The company's making a lot more money on that feature than you leaving the job. So like usually it costs about 40K to replace somebody, like a company, like 40K is average. But if you make a feature that they get like 100K on, um, they win, right? And and then you just move on to your next job. Yeah, don't worry about that. Loyalty is the death.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for sharing that. So the next question is it's I tried checking YouTube. I think I missed your podcast name. Like, can you give us the name again? Maybe I could go grab it from YouTube and drop it in here.
So it's also on my profile page. It's called Deeper Than Tech,
Okay,
and
deeper.
we talk about Black women's experiences in tech. It's
Oh,
Deeper Than Tech.
Okay, I was checking something else. So let me grab that now and I put it in the comment deeper than tech. Yep, found it. So I'm going to paste it right now. So as I'm doing that, let's get on to strategy number three, which is promotion. I think you hint on that a little bit, but let's get into it in full.
Yes, promotions are a great way to increase your salary. We talked about at the beginning. In order for you to climb up the ladder, you need to have those allies and that support from other people. Um, I'm also I have also been through a couple promotion phases at my current company. So for me, I know I say loyalty. I'm okay with where the company I'm at. So I do want to just keep going with the promotion route. And I think that's also a way to increase your salary. So the first thing with promotions, you kind of need to know when your company has promotion cycles. Most companies will have yearly promotion cycles. Sometimes, rare cases, they will have a mid year cycle. Um, Super rare case, they will have quarterly cycles, but that's a lot of work for HR, for managers. So, most likely may not happen. But um, mid year and 1 year are usually the best times. Um, when you talk to your manager, you need to make sure that you know when your promotion packet goes into the system. So, like, let's say your year end is in December, but HR, the director of engineering, the people who are giving you the promotion, need to put in that packet in maybe the quarter before. Each company is different. I'm just speaking of the company that I work for and what has happened. So you need to put in your think the a lot of times they actually don't want to tell you because your manager mm, may not be as open, but you need to just ask around for other people what their promotion cycle look like, so way you know. Then you need to establish your relationship with your manager because a lot of times your manager is the one submitting the packet. There are self-elected promotions, but not a lot of companies do that. Mostly it's through the manager and having that support. Then you need to ask HR or your manager, whoever has this information, for the salary band for the next level. And then you want to make sure that you get the median number for that salary band. So let's say that you have a range between 50K and 70K. The middle number is 60K, and that's the number that you want to get when you get a promotion. A lot of companies will try to stick you at point the 0.85 range. The 0.85 range is usually pretty average, but we don't want to be average. We want to get the most that we can out of this promotion because promotions don't come around as often as you like. So the 0.85 range would be about 58K. 200 $2,000 extra if you're in the midpoint range. And remember that $2,000 means that you get more 401k, you get more bonus money, you get more raise money, you get more profit sharing money. Um, and then, yeah, those are things that you want to do when it comes to promotions. Promotions are great; they could give you a big jump, but that means you have to keep up with your skills and get those allies.
Okay, so that's actually what I want to talk about for my next question. So how do you get promotion ready? Like, what do you do to signal to your manager or to the company that, hey, I'm ready for that next level? So
Yeah, no worries. So the first
mhm.
thing you need to do is figure out if your company has a levels documentation, some type of document that tells you what you need to do to get to the next step. If they do have that, then you need to create a document for yourself. You need to take each line of that promotion levels doc that they give you, put it in like a Google Doc or something. And every time, once a week, it's super annoying, I know. You're going to sit down, collect all the feedback you've received from your peers. You're also going to put down any important pull requests or any important features that you have in that document. And then you're going to try to line that feedback or proof of work to the line of the careers level. That you can show when you have your conversations with your managers. You can first let them tell you what areas that you miss. Um, I tried to hide this document as long as possible. I want my manager to see the work that I'm doing based off the conversations I've had with them weekly, or if you do bi-weekly, every time you talk to your manager, like tell them what you're doing. And I want them to like show me what I'm missing, and then I try to convince them based off some of the work. You could have this doc that you created about your, I call it a hype doc. You could look this up online, like, or a brag doc. Some people call it brag doc. And you can have that doc up in your computer while you talk to them about all the accomplishments you made. So let's say they say, let's say your manager's like, hey, I don't think you collaborate very well with other people. Be like, no, I was the lead for this project. I was able to coordinate this engineer to do this feature. I was able to talk to the product manager um, about how the scope of the work, because after like 1 year is a long time. I'm starting to ramble, but 1 year is a long time, and you can't remember everything. So that's why I encourage you doing it weekly, keeping this documentation. That way, when like the year end promotion cycle comes, you don't have to scramble around for all this information.
Yeah, I just learned something new. The brag doc. It's yeah. I feel most times we just just work and we don't really keep this achievements as a bargaining chip when we need that promotion, or we just like want to state the value we've added to the company through our time there. So yeah, thank you for mentioning that. That's really really insightful. So we're gonna I think we could get to the last strategy, then after that open the floor, because like I said, spaces are pretty brief and we want to get in and out as quickly as possible. So finally, strategy number 4, where is it? Raises.
Yes, raises. Don't let raises slip by. They usually happen once a year as well, and usually the percentage of raises are not that high. Um, I would say like maybe 1 to 5%. A lot of times 5% is like you're like the best employee ever. At my company, it means that you need to get like CEO approval to get that 5%. A lot of people don't want to have to deal with that. So like we're dealing with 1 to 4%. That 1 to 4% can make a huge difference in your salary for the rest of your career. Going back to like the 401k matching and the bonuses, that 1%, like say if you get 1% versus 4%, it's very crucial. So you want to try to get the highest one that you can get. So that goes back to like trying to convince your manager of the skills that you have. Um, I also wanted to like making sure that you seek regular feedback from your manager so that you know like where you're tracking towards to that end of the year raise percentage. So if you're tracking towards the bottom, like that 1%, you gotta be like, hold up. No, this is what I need to do, or like ask them what you need to do to get to that 4%. Um, yeah, and then also if you haven't done this already, this is a young person thing to do. The older people don't do this, but like discuss your salaries with your coworkers. I know it's very touchy subject. Salary is very taboo, but it's super important to discuss your salaries. I'll give you an example why. So, when I got promoted from a mid-level engineer to a full-time, a senior engineer, I was given a number that was 8K less than my coworkers. I did not know this, but because I asked around other people who got this promotion, I was like, hold on, what did they do differently than me to get a higher percentage? So I went back to my manager and I told them, hey, here's the proof. First of all, if you have proof, make sure you ask your coworkers if you can share with your manager. And sometimes your manager will ask for their names because managers actually don't know everybody's salary in the company. The only salaries that they do know is their the report salary. So like say like if you're the only one who's a senior engineer, he he won't know the salary is equal pay or not. He just won't know because they don't have that information. So you kind of have to do your own research about that, like what people are making, to present it back to your manager to help them convince HR or whoever they have to talk to increase your salary. So I was able to get my salary up that 8%, that 8K, by talking to my manager. It took about 10 months for it to go through. It took a while. I'm not sure why, but I got it. So that was the good thing. Um, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Like you've been showing so much insight that I really haven't personally haven't thought about, and it's really good to hear your experience on how you navigate all this. And so I think you've learned a lot from experience, but do you have like someone in your corner that was maybe guiding you in these sort of choices and steps?
I I would say yes. There is a thing called a web of mentors that I can go to. Like I need help here in this direction and here in that direction. Would I say there's a specific person that I can point out? No, because I don't go with just one person's advice. I go with multiple people's advice and then make my own decision on how I want to move forward. Because it's my life, it's not theirs, so it's my decision.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Samantha. Yeah, so we at the point of this special guest space where we bring folks from the audience to come ask their questions. So before that, if you want to touch on anything, like maybe like a little bit of recap on what you've talked about, any points you're eager to share, while we invite folks to come up, take the mic, ask your questions on this.
Yeah, I think the best recap would be like it's really up to you to help increase your salary. There are tactics to do that, which is negotiation, job hopping, promotion, and raises. But only you can fight for what you are worth. No one else is going to do that for you. So make sure you put yourself out there, ask questions, get to know your company system so that way you can succeed in getting the most money you can.
That was brilliant. Thank you, Samantha. So yeah, we have Stephanie, and bringing her up, she probably should have a question. Hi, Stephanie.
Hey, girl.
Yeah, I think your mic is muted, Stephanie.
Oh, okay. Hi, good evening.
Hello.
Hi, Samantha. So, please, I wanted to ask you when you talked about learning in public. So, I wanted to ask how can someone learn in public without being too vulnerable? How maybe it's for someone that struggled with failure in the past. What's your advice to such a person?
I think you should start maybe with 100 days of code. No, you don't have to actually do the challenge, but just that community is very supportive. So let's say like you're afraid to talk about you failed at solving a bug today. Like that's very, we want to be perfect in life. We don't want to show our flaws, but that community is really great at like supporting you because we all go through the same things as coders. So to me, that would be like the best way. Starting small. Yeah.
Yes. If I could add to it, so I feel if you let go of being vulnerable and making a fool of yourself online, you tend to free yourself to really just fail and practice failing as you go, because as you're learning how to code, of course you've not been doing this before, right? So definitely it's new to you. So it will definitely help you fail quickly. So you always show what you're working on. You have frustration. You of course you get support from folks on the internet sometimes, and also it just keep gives you this tough skin that okay, it's not about the current state that I'm in. It's about what I want to achieve, and this is what I learned today. This is how I feel today. Tomorrow I'm going to get better and better and better, and you just keep putting things out there. So I've written articles of fail of my failures, and also tweeted about things that I failed on. Even like when I'm doing videos and stuff, just the behind the scene, just show it. It's you don't have to think about it too much. It's just a state, like it's a state you were in, but now you've moved on. So yeah, so that's just my take on that.
Yeah, I'll add on to that. Yes,
Hmm.
don't worry about doing things in public. 9 times out of 10, you're speaking to an empty void. No one's really listening. They'll see it, and then tomorrow they'll forget about it. It's really just you stopping yourself from doing it. Actually, when people like fail or don't do well and they put that online, that usually gets a little bit more engagement than something like super positive. Like, what struggle did you have and how did you overcome it is a great story to tell online.
Yeah, that's definitely for sure. Like my tweet about how I got the job at Trouble was really popular because of I really stated, getting fired, the wait time and everything. Like it was from gloom to like getting the job. I did not skip out any details. So yeah, don't worry about it. Put it out there. Just a state, just a stage. The next day you will get better and better. So, if are there any other questions? Please request the mic. This is your chance to ask Samantha, senior engineer at Aoshim, any questions you have for her. So,
Don't all raise your hand at once now.
okay,
It's okay.
yeah, yeah. So, okay, Steph. Okay, we have Stephanie again. This is good. Hi, Steph.
Okay, thank you, Samantha. Thank you, Kelvin. I appreciate.
Yeah, sure thing. So we have Dave coming up to ask a question. He's getting the mic now. Yeah. Hi, Dave.
You are on mute if you are talking.
Yeah, Dave, you're muted, please. You could unmute yourself.
Hello Kevin, hello Samantha.
Hello.
Yeah, thank you so much for this space. I've gained a lot of insight and I've learned a lot of things. So my question is, for Samantha, how is there a point where you get to that you feel okay, I'm ready to start applying for jobs, or is there just this feeling, or do you have to get to a certain like point? Yeah, I know you have to at least know some things, but is there a particular point you reach where you know that okay, yes, I should start applying for jobs and something like that?
I think you should apply to jobs when you feel like applying to jobs, but don't stop yourself from applying because you don't think you have enough skills. There's so many people who finesse their way into tech. If you really want to get a job fast, I would say focus on data structures and algorithms because that is what interviewers are testing for. You aren't really being tested on your coding skills, you're being tested on your thinking skills because they could teach you how to code on the job. So when you start learning how to code, I would suggest maybe doing 100. This is just a random number. 100 easy to medium level coding challenges And if you could do 100, I think you could start applying to jobs. It might take a little bit longer, I will be honest, because you're still learning how to code, but I think you could do it. I really do. I wish I had taken that tactic and I might have gotten my job faster because I honestly just failed all my coding interviews because I focused so much on my projects, so much on coding, and not really anything about data structure and algorithms. And that's all they cared about when I was applying to jobs.
Nice. Thank you for sharing. So, Dave, does that answer your question completely?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure thing. So, I have a question of my own, Samantha. So, do you have any platform where folks could go practice these algorithms and data structures?
I do them on Leak Code.
Okay.
There's also Interview Cake. That's
Mm,
also a good one people use, but I use Leak Code because when you go to a company, they will have something very similar to that, or like HackerRank. I believe all those spaces are free, so there's no excuse not to start today.
all right. Thank you. Linking to those starting from Interview Cake. I haven't heard about that one, but I do know about Lead Code. Yeah. So thank you so much, Samantha. So if you all don't have any other question, we could close early. I have some editing to get to. So thank you so much, Samantha. Do you have any other info to give us?
No, yeah, you could just follow me anywhere on my name is Samantha Bretous. And I was so happy to join this space. It's my first one, and Calvin made it so easy and simple for me to come on here. So I want to thank him so much.
Yeah, thank you, of course, for coming to share your experience because, like I said, talks like this, we don't get them enough. And most people just go in blind with their first job and just, sell themselves short. But you were benevolent enough to give us like a very good head start in your experience and the four strategies you sent. So thank you so much, Samantha. It was really a pleasure having you here.
Bye
Yeah,
bye.
so yeah, we are heading out, folks. So follow Samantha, the special guest, of course. Follow me if you want to as well, and look out for other spaces. Like I said, some cool stuff coming down the pipeline. So wish you all good day, good night, wherever you are, and yeah, bye everybody.